At a family dinner, my parents said my grandparents would move into my house. So I didn't say anything, but waited for the moment when they came with their stuff, unaware I had already turned it into an Airbnb. Family dinners at my parents' house were always exhausting, but this time, it was different. This time, they had a special announcement. "We've made a decision," my mom said, her voice thick with self-importance as she set down her wine glass. "Your grandparents are moving in with you." I blinked, certain I'd misheard. "What?" My dad nodded as if this was a conversation we had already had. "It's only logical. You have the space, and they need care. It's not up for discussion." I stared at them, my fingers tightening around my fork. Not once had they asked me, hinted at it, or even suggested I might have a choice in this matter. They had just decided, like I was a child, like I was a resource to be used. I could already hear the manipulations coming next. "It's your responsibility," my mom would say. "We took care of you. Now it's your turn." My dad would probably throw in something about family duty, as if I were some knight sworn into servitude. But instead of arguing, instead of defending my autonomy, I simply nodded. Okay. That was it. I didn't yell, didn't protest. I just kept eating while they launched into a discussion about logistics, completely unaware that I had other plans. Because the thing was, I had already turned my house into an Airbnb. It had started a few months ago. After years of feeling pressured to carry more than my fair share in the family, helping with bills, buying my younger brother a car, even covering part of my parents' mortgage at one point, I had finally decided to do something for myself. My house, my rules. And if my house could make me money while I stayed in a stylish, small downtown apartment, even better. I didn't tell them because I knew how they'd react. My mother would claim I was being reckless. My father would scoff at my irresponsibility. They believed my home was their business, the way they believed my bank account was theirs to dip into when convenient. So I said nothing. I let them talk. Let them make their plans. And I waited. I waited for the moment they would show up with my grandparents and all their belongings, completely unaware that I no longer lived there and that someone else was sleeping in what they assumed was their new bedroom. That moment came 3 weeks later. I got the call at 10 a.m. "We're on our way to your house," my mother announced. "Grandpa and Grandma are all packed up, so we'll be there in an hour." I smirked, stretching out on the couch of my downtown apartment. All right. I made no effort to stop them. No warning. No explanation. I simply waited, phone in hand, for the inevitable second call. When it came, it was glorious. "What is going on?" my father bellowed. In the background, I heard my grandmother's confused murmuring and my grandfather asking why there were strangers in the house. "Oh," I said, feigning innocence. "Did you not get my text?" "What text?" my mother shrieked. "The one where I told you I rent out the house now. I don't live there anymore." Silence. Then, the explosion. "You did what?" My mother's voice cracked as she screamed through the phone. "You can't do that. We already told them they could live there." "Well, that's unfortunate," I said, barely holding back a chuckle. "Because it's not your house." My father was breathing heavily, his anger barely contained. "This is unacceptable. You didn't even warn us. We're standing here with their suitcases, and some strangers are living in your house." "My house," I corrected. "And actually, they're paying guests. So unless you plan on booking a stay, you're trespassing." There was a stunned silence on the other end. I could picture my parents standing on my front porch, red-faced, my grandparents looking around in confusion. Then my mother switched tactics. "This is cruel. Your grandparents can't just be left like this. They're elderly. Where are they supposed to go?" I sighed, feigning concern. "Oh, I don't know. Maybe to your house? Since you're the ones who decided they needed a place to stay." "We don't have the space," she snapped. "Neither do I," I said, stretching out comfortably on my couch. But hey, at least I figured it out before dragging 2 old people across town with all their belongings. A thought crossed my mind, and I asked, "Wait, what about Grandma and Grandpa's house? Why can't they stay there?" Silence. Then, a hesitant cough from my dad. "Well, we were planning to rent it out," he admitted begrudgingly. I sat up. "Rent it out? You mean, make money off it?" My mother cleared her throat. "It's just for a little extra income. Things have been tight lately, and we thought it would be a good way to bring in some money." I let out a short laugh. "So let me get this straight. You wanted to kick Grandma and Grandpa out of their own house just so you could rent it to strangers for cash? And you thought I was the best alternative?" "It's not like that," my mother started, but I cut her off. "No, it's exactly like that. You didn't care where they went, as long as you got your extra income. And you expected me to just roll over and take them in without question? Another long pause. Finally, my mother spoke again, her voice tight. Fine. We'll figure something else out. But don't expect us to forget this. Oh, I'm counting on it, I said, grinning as I ended the call. I didn't have to wait long for the fallout. That same evening, my phone started blowing up with messages. First from my mother, then from my father. Calls, voicemails, texts, each one more frantic than the last. I ignored them all. I knew what they wanted. They wanted me to fix their mess, the way I always had. Because that's what I'd been doing my whole life, hadn't I? They were awful with money. Always had been. They bought useless gadgets they never used, expensive decor for a house that was falling apart, a new car every few years just because they wanted to keep up appearances. And then, when the bills came due, when reality hit them in the face, they turned to me. Just cover the electric bill this month, sweetheart. You know we'd do the same for you. We're a little short on groceries. Could you pick up a few things for us? You're doing well financially. It's no big deal for you, right? It had started small. A bill here, a grocery trip there. But over the years, it had turned into something much bigger. They didn't ask anymore. They expected. And I let them. Until now. When I finally picked up my mother's call, she was sobbing. You've humiliated us. Do you know how embarrassing it was to stand there, with your grandparents, while some strangers told us to leave? You've humiliated yourselves, I said coldly. Maybe next time, ask before you try to hand out someone else's house. We didn't think we had to ask, she cried. You're our son. We thought you'd step up. Like I've been stepping up my entire life? I snapped. Paying your bills? Buying your groceries? Covering your mistakes while you waste money on things you don't need? How dare you speak to your mother like this? My father barked in the background. We raised you. We sacrificed for you. I laughed bitterly. Sacrificed? For me? Or for your own comfort? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like I'm the one who's been sacrificing for you. She sniffled, but then her tone changed sharp, pressing. Your grandparents want to live with you. They asked for you. They trust you. I exhaled sharply. Of course they do, Mom. You've made it very clear all these years how much you hate your own mother-in-law. So where else would she go? Silence. Then I continued, my voice calm but firm. But I have my own life, my own job, my own responsibilities. I took a deep breath, preparing for the final blow. And you won't believe this, Mom, but I have a girlfriend. Another silence. Longer this time. I could almost hear her brain short-circuiting. A girlfriend? She finally echoed, like I had just told her I was moving to Mars. I smirked. Yes, a girlfriend. A relationship. A future. A life that doesn't revolve around bailing you out. My mother was speechless. For the first time, she had nothing to say. I need my own life, I repeated. And this time, I'm choosing it over yours. And I hung up. After that conversation, everything went quiet. Too quiet. No calls. No messages. Not even a guilt-tripping voicemail from my father, who usually tried to play the peacemaker. I knew this was the calm before the storm. And the storm didn't take long to arrive. A few days later, my brother Mike called me. We didn't talk often, only when he needed something. I wasn't going to answer, but curiosity got the best of me. What do you want, Mike? You really screwed up this time. His voice was annoyed, almost mocking. Do you even know what's happening at home? I yawned. Enlighten me. Mom is hysterical, Dad's pissed, Grandma's crying. They're all saying you abandoned the family, that you're selfish, that you left them hanging in their worst moment. I rubbed my temples. And what did they expect? They didn't even ask me. They just assumed I owed it to them. Well, who else was going to do it? Mike scoffed. They can't just leave the old folks out on the street. I narrowed my eyes. Oh yeah? Because their house isn't theirs anymore. They decided it was better to rent it out than to let their own parents live there. Mike fell silent. He hadn't expected me to know that. Look, he said, changing tactics. Maybe you're right about some things. But this is family. Are you really just going to walk away? I exhaled sharply. You know what's funny, Mike? I spoke slowly, making sure he heard every word. The whole family is blaming me because I won't do more. But no one is asking why it has to be me and not you. That's not fair. Oh, it's completely fair, I interrupted. Let me guess, have you ever once helped them? Or do you only call me when there's a problem? Silence again. I sighed. I'm not walking away from the family, Mike. For the first time in my life, I'm just choosing myself. And I hung up. The next day, my grandmother called. Her voice was quiet, shaky. Sweetheart, we don't want to put you in this position. Something twisted inside me. I loved my grandmother. She was the only person in this family who had never manipulated me, never demanded, never judged. Grandma, this isn't your fault, I said gently. They decided all of this without me. I'm not mad at you, but you don't understand. Her voice cracked. Your mother said that if you won't take us in, we'll have to go to a nursing home. I nearly smashed my phone against the wall. She said, what? That we're a burden to her, but you have space. That you're young and should help. I clenched my jaw, trying to keep my voice steady. Grandma, you are not going to any nursing home. Then what do we do? I thought for a moment. I couldn't let them be homeless. But I also couldn't let my parents use me as their personal problem solver again. I'll figure something out, I promised. That evening, I did something no one in my family saw coming. I contacted the tenants renting my grandparents' house and offered to buy it through them. They were interested. They liked the house, but my parents constantly changing their plans made things uncertain for them. The next day, I called my father. I'm buying Grandma and Grandpa's house, I said. His laughter was mocking. And with what money, genius? With the same money you've been draining from me for years. Silence. I made a deal with the tenants. They're willing to buy, but not from you. From me. This is fraud, he roared. You're stealing from us. I smirked. It's called business, Dad. You wanted to make a profit, didn't you? So why is it a problem now? You have no right. Oh, and you had the right to throw your own parents out? He had no answer for that. A week later, the deal was done. My grandparents stayed in their home. My parents got exactly $0. When they found out, the explosion was even bigger than the one after the Airbnb incident. You betrayed us, my mother screamed. You took everything from us. No, I replied calmly. I just didn't let you sell your own parents for a little extra cash. I was no longer their ATM. I was no longer their victim. I was no longer their son. And you know what? I felt free. For the first time in years, I felt like I could finally breathe. No more obligations. No more endless guilt trips. No more pretending to be the perfect, dutiful son who would sacrifice everything just to keep my parents comfortable while they bled me dry. I was done. But, of course, my parents weren't. It started with the silence. A full week passed without a single call or message from them. Not even from my brother, who usually played the middleman when things got tense. It was unsettling at first, but then I realized something. They were trying to punish me. They thought ignoring me would make me come crawling back. It was almost funny. I enjoyed the peace. For the first time, I didn't have to worry about sudden emergency expenses, didn't have to check my phone every few hours expecting a demand disguised as a favor. I could just live my life. But my mother couldn't hold out forever. 10 days after the sale of my grandparents' house, she finally cracked. The last attempt. It was late at night when my phone rang. I glanced at the screen, Mom. I sighed and let it ring. Then she called again. And again. By the 5th time, I decided to pick up. I was curious. Hello, Mother. Her voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of forced calm she used when she was about to manipulate someone. I think we should talk. I smirked. We are talking. A pause. She wasn't expecting me to be this indifferent. I don't want things to be this way between us, she said, her voice softer now. I just want my son back. I raised an eyebrow. Your son? Or your financial safety net? Another pause. Then she sighed, as if I was exhausting her. We've been struggling, you know. Here it comes. The rental business was supposed to help us with our finances. Your father and I, we're not as young as we used to be. We just wanted something stable, something to help us as we get older. I let her talk. She was spinning the perfect victim narrative, setting the stage for her final move. It's been hard, ever since you left. I almost laughed. Left? Mom, I didn't leave. I just stopped paying your bills. Her voice wavered, but she pressed on. I miss you. I rolled my eyes. Enough with the nonsense. What do you want? Silence. Then, the truth. Your father and I, we need help. There it was. I leaned back, grinning. Financial help, I assume. Another pause. Just for a little while. How much? 5,000 would be enough to get us back on track. I hung up. She called back instantly. I picked up just to say, no. But, no. You can't just abandon your family like this, she shrieked, her calm act finally shattering. I took a deep breath, savoring the moment. You did that first, Mom. You abandoned me the moment I was more valuable to you as a provider than as a son. And I ended the call for good. The aftermath. I expected another explosion. More calls, more drama. Maybe even my father barging into my apartment demanding an explanation. But nothing came. My parents had lost all their leverage. They had no way to guilt-trip me, no way to control me. The realization must have finally hit them. I was gone. And they only had themselves to blame. A few weeks later, my brother Mike called me again. So, I guess you won, huh? I smirked. This wasn't a game, Mike. But yeah, I did. He sighed. I don't know how you did it. I mean, I know mom and dad can be difficult, but cutting them off completely? That takes guts. I leaned back in my chair. It wasn't guts, Mike. It was survival. He was quiet for a moment. Then, a chuckle. You know, they're still waiting for you to come back. Mom keeps saying you'll realize your mistake and apologize. I laughed. She'll be waiting a long time. Yeah, I figured. Another pause. I wanted to say something. Go on. He hesitated. I respect what you did. I didn't get it at first, but you were right. They only see us as tools. You were just the first to break free. For the first time, I heard something in my brother's voice I never expected. Regret. And maybe even admiration. Does this mean you'll stop being their puppet too? I asked. He exhaled. I don't know. Maybe. But seeing you do it makes me think I could too. I smiled. You can. Whenever you're ready. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I had truly won. Not just against my parents, but against everything they had turned me into. The final choice. Months passed. My life became mine again. I spent more time with my girlfriend. I traveled. I started investing my money in things that benefited me, not my parents. And one day, as I was walking home from work, I saw a missed call from my mother. I stared at it for a long moment. Then, without hesitation, I blocked the number. Some battles don't need to be fought anymore. Some victories are best left untouched. And some doors should stay closed forever. Final update. OP here. Wow, I didn't expect this to blow up like it did. I just wanted to vent, but reading through all your comments has been wild. A lot of people have asked for updates, so I thought I'd answer some of the top questions. Top comment. Your parents literally tried to give away your house without even asking you? What happened to your grandparents in the end? Yeah, it was insane. They really thought they could just dictate my life like that. As for my grandparents, don't worry, they're fine. I actually managed to buy their house through a deal with the tenants my parents had rented it to. So now, my grandparents still live in their own home, and my parents got absolutely nothing from it. After my parents realized what I'd done, they freaked out. My mom called me screaming about how I stole from them. But I just told her, no, I stopped you from selling out your own parents for extra cash. And then I hung up. Wait, so your parents were literally making their own parents homeless just to make money? Yup, that's exactly what they were doing. But when they realized I wasn't going to be their backup plan, they tried to make me the villain instead. First, they guilt-tripped me. Then, they got mad. Then, they went silent, thinking I'd come crawling back. Spoiler, I didn't. Info. What was your mom's reaction when you told her you had a girlfriend? Oh man, this was priceless. She literally froze and stuttered like I had just told her I was moving to Mars. I swear, I could hear the gears in her head screeching to a stop. She always assumed that because I never talked about relationships, I didn't have one. Probably thought I was just waiting around to take care of her and dad forever. So when I told her, Mom, I have my own life. I have a job, responsibilities, and guess what? I even have a girlfriend. She completely short-circuited. It was the first time in my life she had nothing to say. And honestly, it felt amazing. Did your parents ever try to reach out again? Oh, of course. They went silent for about 2 weeks, and then my mom finally caved and called me. She started with the usual, I just want my son back speech, but I wasn't buying it. Then she slipped up. She told me, your father and I need help. Just for a little while. I asked her how much. She hesitated and then said, 5,000 should be enough to get us back on track. I hung up. She called back. I picked up just to say no. She lost it. Started screaming about how I was abandoning my family. And I just said, no, Mom. You abandoned me the moment I became more useful as a wallet than as a son. And that was it. Final update. Do you regret cutting them off? Not even for a second. For the first time in years, I feel like I can actually breathe. No more random calls asking for money. No more guilt tripping me into paying their bills. No more pretending I owe them my entire life. I've been traveling, spending more time with my girlfriend, actually enjoying the money I work for instead of handing it over to people who think they're entitled to it. And a few weeks ago, I made it official. I blocked my parents' numbers. Some doors should stay closed forever. And I've never felt more free. Final thoughts. To everyone who commented, messaged, and even shared their own family horror stories, thank you. This whole mess started because I thought I had no choice. But reading your words helped me realize something. It's okay to choose yourself. And sometimes, the best thing you can do for yourself is to just walk away.